Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the campus of Hope College here in Holland, Michigan, and DeVos Fieldhouse for this full tilt matchup between rivals in the MIAA, the Hope College Lady Dutch and the Calvin Knights. I'm Eric Van Swal alongside my partner, Carly Van Swal.
Thank you for having me tonight.
No problem. As we are looking forward to this matchup, not only because it is a massive rivalry for those of you outside of the West Michigan area, but I assume if you're tuning in, you are quite aware what matters between these two teams tonight. Number 4, Hope College, is here hosting number 15, Calvin College. Hope 15-0, 7-0 in MIAA play. Calvin College 12-3 and 7-0 in MIAA play as well.
And Calvin has had a good season so far with only 3 losses. The past 4 games they played have all been conference games. They played Shrine, Olivet, Adrian, and Alma, and all have won those games. So that's a really good start for them in conference, and just to kick things off for the season as we head into more conference play and as they play Hope tonight.
Hope trails in the all-time series by a margin of 69-44, including 3 losses last season out of the 5 I believe they had overall. Calvin edged the Flying Dutch 76-74 in the regular season meeting at DeVos Fieldhouse January 17th of last year. So Hope looking to turn the tides a little bit in this night's matchup.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they're going to want a little bit of revenge from last year, and just those 3 losses, especially against a big rivalry game, are not always ones that sit well.
But both of these teams are fantastic so far this season. Hope with an undefeated record, one of 6 teams in Division III. That's 420 teams in Division III, and they're one of 6 without a loss tonight. And they're looking to continue that streak. And we're going to have 2 of the most prolific scorers in the MIAA on the floor. Maura McAfee, senior for the Lady Dutch, is tied for first in MIAA scoring at 15.7 points per game. Guess who she's tied with? Allie Spade from Calvin, also at 15.3.
Yeah, both phenomenal players. Both have had great seasons in both careers at their respected schools, and it's going to be a good matchup tonight, and hopefully Hope pulls away and McAfee pulls away with that.
Yeah, she scored in double figures in 13 of her last 15 games and has 1,200 career points in 105 games. Looking at that total tonight, Hope has been beating their opponents by over 32 points per game this season. I don't know if that's going to happen tonight, but I'm sure everybody coming out wearing blue and orange would love to see it.
Yeah, they had a good win last game against Kalamazoo. They won 104-64, which is the second time that they've hit over 100 points this season, and that's just incredible for a girls' game, especially in this day and age when people don't believe that girls can really score baskets anymore.
That is very true. Looking at the starting lineups tonight, we have Elizabeth Perkins, Mandy Traversa, Maura McAfee, Autumn Anderson, and Angelique Gaddy running it for the Dutch, while we have Callie Verkijk, Bree Lertsma, Anna Timmer, Allie Spade, and Abby Springer for the Knights. We are about a minute and 50 seconds away from tip-off here. Pretty packed house tonight for this big rivalry, as you can see on your screens at home.
Yeah, it's been a great turnout, even though we've had a pretty constant snowfall over this past day, and the Hope faithful have come out, and Calvin always comes out and support, and it's just a great atmosphere in here.
Yeah, for me personally, there might be a little too much maroon in the building, but that always makes for an incredible atmosphere, like you mentioned. And we are working our ways towards tip-off. Coach Brian Morehouse gearing his team up in his 20th season leading the Flying Dutch. Here are our starting lineups. You can see the graphic playing on your screen. There's Maura McAfee, the senior cornerstone of this team. Autumn Anderson, the other senior on the floor. Angelique Gaddy coming back from a couple ACL injuries. And that is a stalwart lineup for Hope. They are scoring 83.9 points per game, talking about that scoring that you think a lot of people don't feel women's basketball has. On the other side of the ball, Calvin, 83.5 points per game. Hope a little stingier on defense, 51.3 on defense, while Calvin is 64.3. So their winning margin is only 19.2 as opposed to 32.6. But regardless, I think we'd expect a lot of points tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great scoring game and a really good matchup between the two teams.
And that's the horn, so we're going to pause to honor our nation with the playing of our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Hope College sophomores, Miss Hannah Fawcett and Miss Becca Fazenfeld.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Hannah Fawcett and Miss Becca Fazenfeld. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the DeVos Fieldhouse here in the campus of Hope College for tonight's women's varsity contest between the Knights of Calvin College and your Hope College Flying Dutch. Here are tonight's starting lineups. First for Calvin at 1 forward, a 5'10 senior from Holland, number 12, Callie Verkijk. And at 1 forward for the Flying Dutch, a 5'9 junior from Eaton Rapids, number 23, Elizabeth Perkins. At 1 forward for the Knights, a 5'9 sophomore from Holland, number 15, Bree Lertzma. And at 1 forward for the Flying Dutch, a 6-foot junior from Winfield, Illinois, number 25, Mandy Traversa. Starting at center for the Knights, a 5'10 junior from Caledonia, number 23, Anna Timmer. And at center for the Flying Dutch, a 6-foot senior from Midland, number 14, Maura McAfee. At 1 guard for the Knights, a 5'8 sophomore from Lewis Center, Ohio, number 4, Allie Spade. And at 1 guard for the Flying Dutch, a 5'9 senior from Dorr, number 10, Autumn Anderson. And at the final guard spot for the Knights, a 5'7 senior from Vernon Hills, Illinois, number 20, Abby Springer. And at the final guard spot for the Flying Dutch, a 5'4 junior from Caledonia, number 24, Angelique Gaddy. Calvin College is coached by John Ross. Hope College is coached by Brian Morehouse. Your officials this evening, Mr. Todd Hoke, Mr. Ryan Ragland, and Mr. Jeff Nix.
Folks, those are your starting lineups for the matchup tonight. Obviously a big game between two teams ranked in the top 15. And great job by our PA announcer, Darren Deistermar, announcing those and getting everybody hyped up. We are just about to tip this one off. What do you think the keys are tonight?
I think the keys for both teams is, since they're both very high-scoring teams, that they're going to want to keep each other to minimal shots. So defense is going to be really key, and trying to get points off fast breaks and just trying to mess the other team up, get underneath them on defense, and move the ball around.
I think those are two very important things as well, and we will see how they play out over the course of the game. And right before tip-off here, we would like to remind you As Calvin takes that tip off to thank our sponsors, Lawrence and Van der Swart Financial Planning. Been around since 1960 and are a big part of the Hope community. Calvin's first possession gets an offensive rebound, but Moore McAfee takes away the second shot. Gaddy coming up the floor looking for Traversa, and that's an easy lay-in for two.
And that's exactly what Hope's going to want to do tonight, keep their heads up and look for each other and just run the floor.
And that's that transition game that Hope is so well known for. Angelique Gaddy getting out on the break, giving it up to Traversa, and good start for them. Here's a three-point attempt by Verkijk, and that one's off the mark. Gaddy coming back the other way, all the way to the rack herself. Stripped, but Hope's going to retain possession. We talked about the two big scorers on the floor, Spade and McAfee. Still wondering what kind of impact they're going to make tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if both teams tend to focus more on those girls and just trying to lock them down on defense.
This one's into McAfee inside. She's going up. Looked like it got tipped. It didn't hit any iron, but I'm going to chalk that up to being tipped. As Springer brings it down the floor. And that's an easy lay-in right there for Anna Timmer. Gaddy up to Perkins now. Swinging it back out to Traversa, who's going to get called for a walk. As she caught that, took two steps right as she caught the ball, and that's a first turnover of the game.
And I think for Traversa, it's a big night. A lot's on the plate. Hope Calvin's always a big game, so there still might be a little nerves on the field for some of the girls.
That's probably a good call. As this one is knocked out of bounds, Calvin will stay in possession. There's a lot of energy in the building tonight. Springer taking this one out of bounds. Gets it out to Spade, who takes it to the rack on Gaddy. And we're going to get a travel. And there's the first turnover for Calvin of the night. Now they're going to apply some full court pressure here. Anderson looking for Perkins. And that's tipped. And off Calvin.
Good offensive look by Hope. Just a big key is to make sure that we're not telegraphing those passes so that the Calvin defense can't picture that and see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, they, like we mentioned, give up over 60 points per game. But I think that's in part because they score so many points. So they're not weak on the defensive end, to say the least. Gaddy out top now, gets a pick from McAfee. Jumper in the lane. Doesn't hit anything, and that's going to go out of bounds. Go the other way. Springer to inbound to Spade. Spade kicks it out now. Verkijk driving in on Perkins, lays it in, off the mark, and that's out of bounds to Calvin. Calvin and Hope both clearly looking to go inside.
Yeah, I think the emphasis is going to be if they're not going to be able to finish those shots, who's going to get the second chances off those rebounds.
Here's Spade pulling a three from the point. That one's off the mark, her first shot. Perkins with the rebound. Looking to come out quick, double teamed in the corner now. And an offensive foul. Callie Verkijk went down what I thought maybe somewhat easily, but the referee thought it was enough of a push from Perkins to warrant a foul call. And 2 minutes into the contest, 2 points apiece, and first foul is on the board. Springer looking inside, and that one's stolen away. Gaddy on the run with Perkins to her left. Gaddy takes it all the way herself, and that's two more. Great finish there.
Yeah, that was a really good finish. She kept it going under pressure and just kept her composure.
Springer hustling back the other way, was looking for Lertzma, but that one's out of bounds. Calvin been lucky to retain several passes that have been tipped and end up out of bounds.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot of second chances off. Hope tipping the passes out of bounds.
Lertzma over to Spade now. Back to Lertzma. Running the weave out top. Lertzma kicks now. And another travel call, this time against Springer. And that's the third travel call in 2.5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I'm sure that's very unlike either team. Especially at this level, we kind of assume travel calls won't be much of an issue.
I think you mentioned the nerves, and that might be playing a part as Perkins takes that one in for two more. Maybe a lot of the people just got a little antsy feet on the floor. Calvin coming back very quick. That one's off the mark from Lertzma. Rebounded by McAfee. Gaddy has it now crossing the timeline. Kicking to Perkins in the corner with a pump fake. And a drive. Off the mark. Rebounded by Anderson. Kick back out to Gaddy. Traversa to Anderson now. Anderson looking to drive. Over to Perkins. 7 on the shot clock. Perkins still looking. 3 on the shot clock. She's forcing it. Off the mark. Rebound McAfee. She goes up with it. Off the window, Tim Duncan style. And we got a timeout from Coach John Ross of the Calvin Knights. Down 8-2 here.
Yeah, I think Hope came out with a great start with a lot of aggression. They've ran the floor really well. Nice to have Perkins, a soccer girl, be able to run. Field goal wise, they're shooting about 50%, while Calvin's 1 for 7, shooting 14%, which is not a stat Coach Ross is going to like.
Yeah, that's the differentiator right there. Rebounds are about the same as well as turnovers, but Hope getting those shots to fall, mostly because of their efforts to go inside.
Yeah, I think Hope's done a really good job looking for their passing. Calvin's trying to get those passes in down low and look for each other. They just haven't really worked out the way that they want them to.
They've just been off the mark, and Coach Ross is not liking what he's seen so far. And against a team who's 15-0 and as dominant as Hope has been, you do not want to get in too big of a hole.
No, I think it was smart on Coach Ross to take his team in, get them composed again, and motivate them and just tell them that they can do better.
Mackenzie Shelton is now into the game for Calvin as that ball is turned over. Hope coming back the other way. McAfee's got it now, kicking it out. That's Jacqueline Schwark now in for Hope, as well as Madison Gears. We got a foul on Abby Springer for the Knights. First foul for them. Hope looking to add to this lead. Schwark and Gears coming off the bench, but that one's turned over by Gaddy. And Springer has it now. Looks like a line change coming for Calvin in a minute. Springer giving her best effort here, and that one's off the mark. Anna Timmer was open on the block, couldn't handle it.
Yeah, the passes are there. They're just not falling for them.
Gears for 3, off the mark. For Kite coming back the other way, 1-on-2. Kicking it out to Timmer. Thought about a 3. Kicks it back out. Now Tiffany Carger, who just came into the game, pulls the 3. That one's off the mark, but rebounded nicely. Kenzie Shelton gets the rebound and the basket there. And those are those second chance opportunities you're talking about. Calvin finally getting one of them to fall. Double teamed in the corner is Gears. In the corner for McAfee now. Kicks it out to Gaddy. Drives into the lane, flips it up with the right hand. That one's off the mark. Both teams struggling to finish.
Yeah, Calvin really put on the pressure on that last possession with that press and double teaming, and it'll be interesting to see if they keep it up and how Hope reacts to that.
Carger has it out top now, guarded by Anderson. Into the corner for Springer. Swings it back to Carger. Inside, great look for Anna Timmer. That one's off the mark. Schwartz going to come up with it for the Dutch. 8-4, 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Gaddy with a pick for McAfee, drives down the lane, and it's going to be a jump ball call. Staying with the Dutch, and here comes massive substitutions by both teams. Pretty much a full line change for the Knights.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Ross wants to start. Hopefully, this new lineup will start a fire and get something going for them.
That ball's on the deck, picked up by the Knights. That's number 22, Becca Richards, coming in for the Knights, and she's going to get called for a walk. Paris Madison, Allison Hedrick, Maura McAfee, Madison Gears, and Jacqueline Schwark on the floor for the Dutch. Gears taking it to the basket, elects to pull it back out, swings it all the way back to Schwark, mishandles it out by half court. McAfee at the point now. Kicks it back to Madison, who drives all the way in. And that's going to be out of bounds off of Hope.
Both teams kind of looking like they're in a scramble right now, trying to do anything they can to get to the basket, playing a little frazzled. Not a clean game yet so far as their offensive play has been.
I think frazzled is a great word for it, as we've seen 6 minutes of play and 10 turnovers. Great drive to the basket right there. Lauren Goldthorpe coming off the bench and finishes with the left hand there. 8-6 now. Calvin on a mighty 4-0 run since that timeout. Couple more substitutions here. McAfee is going to take a seat. Calvin keeping up that pressure, though. They have Lertzma, Spade, Richards, Goldthorpe, and Carger on the floor. Madison resets out top. Gears has it on the wing. Looking inside, but that one's stripped away. She was looking for Francesca Buchanan, who came in for McAfee.
That was great post defense by Calvin, being aware of that pass and having the help defense right behind.
Brie Lertzma went up with that one from in the post, but drew a little contact, but not enough. Now we're going to get a foul as Paris Madison hits the deck. And the subs are coming rapid fire here. 2 more from the Knights, as Springer and Verkuyk are back in. For a couple teams used to seeing a lot of points, we are not seeing very much tonight. Instead, we are seeing a lot of turnovers. 14 points, 11 turnovers so far in this game. Buchanan inside, and that's 2 more.
And that's good. I think Hope's got to keep looking middle. They have a slight size advantage and especially arm length advantage. So to get it in the middle and have their post players work will be really helpful for them.
They have a size advantage over almost every single team they play this year, if not every single one, and by generally a wide margin. Calvin is one of the few teams that can generally hang with Hope when it comes to size. Gears looking inside again, but that one's knocked away. Springer comes out with it. Looking all the way up the floor, off the hands of Verkuyk. That one's going to come back down the floor. Timmer for the Knights back into the game, as well as Perkins for the Dutch. Traversa as well. Both coaches running the gambit when it comes to substitutions.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get some fresh legs in there since the majority of this game has been very fast-paced, a lot of fast breaks. And yeah, both teams just keep trying to push it up the floor.
With that pushing comes turnovers, and we've seen our fair share tonight.
Yeah, with almost as many turnovers as points this game.
Yeah, it's a stat worth keeping an eye on. Hedrick driving down the lane, puts it up with the right hand. That one's off the mark, and Buchanan's going to get called for an over the back. She looks a little incredulous, and I might have to agree with him.
Yeah, a lot of times post players get abused down there, as you know, being a 6'5" post player yourself in high school.
Spade on the wing now. That is Anna Timmer being hounded by Traversa. Throws it out to the corner, but that one's off the mark from Verkuyk. And that's going to be out of bounds in favor of the girls in white. 2:05 left in the first quarter. Still full court pressure from the Knights, maybe throwing Hope off a little bit. Paris Madison all the way to the basket, no good. Rebound Buchanan, no good. Another rebound, no good. Gets it back a third time, and now there's a foul. That one's going to be charged to Callie Verkuyk. Her first foul of the night, the third one on Calvin for the night. Neither team really in danger of foul trouble or the bonus at this point. Traversa from out top all the way inside. Tried to bank it in. Off the mark. Springer ahead to Timmer. And Timmer's going to get called for a travel. By the look on her face, she did not think so.
As you said earlier, there's been a lot more travel calls than I think would have been expected in this entire game, just in this first half.
She's asking the referee why that's a travel right now. And that goes down as another turnover. Anderson looking for Buchanan inside. That one's tipped. She gets it right back, though. And an easy putback.
Getting that extra point in the stat book in the rebound section.
That's right. She's looking for a double-double tonight, I think. Backdoor pass now to Tiffany Carger. But that one ended up back in the hands of Springer before going out of bounds. And how many possessions have we seen Calvin be interrupted on their possession because the ball has gone out of bounds?
Oh, yeah, I would say countless. There's been at least 8 to 10 times where Calvin's gotten the ball out of bounds just off of Hope's tips on their passes.
It's crazy. All the way to the rack right there. Anna Timmer laying it in and the foul. She is fired up.
I think that's more of what Calvin's used to seeing in their plays and their players. And Timmer's a great player, and that's just a great move done by a great player.
Both teams got to be a little frustrated out there with the lack of scoring and amount of turnovers happening. Timmer's free throw rims out. Traversa rebounds. Minute to go in the quarter. Madison all the way to the basket and just off the mark, but tipped out by Buchanan to Perkins. It's on the deck now. Traversa ends up with it. And Madison's going to reset. Looking to pass. Anderson's got it out top to Perkins. Perkins in the corner. Madison, great find to Buchanan inside and lays it in.
Good look, good cut.
Buchanan with 6 points now. 3 layups, all pretty easy. Nice block there from Buchanan as well. Showing she can play on the defensive end. Madison to the rack, flanked by Perkins. Perkins, that's 2 more.
And there are the finishes that we're used to seeing by this Hope team.
Calvin was going long there. Anna Timmer defended well by Buchanan. Everybody's hitting the deck, it seems like. 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Perkins has it, tries to cross over and gets called for a carry by sticking it on her hip. And the referees are really out to get the travels and the hesitation moves tonight.
Yeah, as another turnover goes in the book. 9 for Calvin, 7 for Hope.
It's been a very interesting first quarter, to say the least. Only 3.1 seconds left. Spade's going to throw it up from half court. And that one almost banked in. Well, here we are at the end of the first quarter. The Hope Flying Dutch leading the Calvin Knights 16-8. The big story of the night, Allie Spade, leading scorer in the MIAA, 0 points. Tied with Maura McAfee, who is also leading scorer in the MIAA, who has 2 points. So both of those players are easily non-factors when it comes to scoring points.
Yeah, on Hope's side, Buchanan has really stepped up both on the offense and defensive court, running the floor to get back on defense, get some of those blocks, and then running the floor to get those passes to make those layups on the offensive end.
We're going to see some highlights from the first half here as we have a minute. Nice block there from Buchanan, leading to points on the other end with Perkins finishing. The majority of the points scored tonight have been layups. I don't really recall seeing a jump shot go in.
Yeah, and both teams done pretty well on the offensive defensive boards. Hope with 17 rebounds, which has gotten them a lot of second chances, and it really helps them make some of those baskets, while Calvin only has 10 on the rebounding board. So it'll be interesting to see if those escalate and how the points escalate.
I think that's in part to the size advantage that Hope has that we talked about. And another possession where Calvin throws a pass and it's tipped out of bounds off of Hope. They've been essentially starting every possession with 20 seconds on the clock because it always ends up out of bounds.
Yeah.
Looking for Spade now. Guarded by Gaddy. She's going to pull it back out and reset. Springer back to Spade. Now she's guarded by Anderson. Throws up a floater. And even though she was going away from the basket and really had no angle, gets what people refer to as a bailout foul call. The referee screened me, so I will have no opinion on whether or not that was an actual foul, but based on the look of Coach Brian Morehouse, I think we know how he feels about the opinion.
Yes, I think he would disagree on that one.
And Spade's first free throw is off the mark.
But thankfully, neither teams have any of the girls really in foul trouble. No one really having more than one foul on both ends.
And there's Spade's first points of the night. Or should I say point of the night. Gaddy double team, just gets it off to Perkins, leaves it off for Anderson. Off the mark, but McAfee there to clean it up and put it in. Just a cornerstone of this offense and defense, this team in general.
Yeah, McAfee does a great job leading by example, and just the player that she is, she just does all the little stuff for the team.
And there she is with a partial block right there too. Now she's got it inside, spin move, and that one's off the mark. But Hope's gonna retain possession, and we're gonna see a couple subs. And not only is she a great player, she's also a high-quality individual off the court as well.
She is.
So a very easy person to root for, unless you happen to be a fan of the maroon and yellow.
Very true.
In which case, she's a very tough person to root for, because she's very tough on your team.
But the Hope community is excited to see what she does in the future.
That's true. As she has the ball out top now, over to Gaddy, thought about a three. Gonna pull it from the free throw line. Just a little off there. Didn't look like she had enough legs on that shot.
Yeah, Gaddy's other shot a little bit earlier in the first. Didn't really have much arc on it either, so we'll see if she can switch that up and make the adjustment.
Lertzma driving in now. That one's off the back of the iron, tipped around. Gaddy had enough to get up for that rebound. Lost it in a sea of Calvin players. That one's off the mark, and Gaddy comes down with the rebound. Emily Van Vliet with that shot for the Knights. Seeing her first action tonight in the second quarter. Gaddy now trying to take it at Van Vliet, and we're gonna get a foul call. Nothing she could really do there. Angelique Gaddy, very difficult player to guard, especially for a forward.
Yeah, she's got the speed and she's got the strength. Very, very hard to guard. She can shoot the three and she can also drive right past you.
See Coach Morehouse diagramming, scheming how to extend this lead. There's Angelique Gaddy from the free throw line, extending it point by point. Great turnout from the Duke crew tonight, as well as the rest of the fans. You can hear a pin drop as Gaddy knocks down that one. 20-9 now. Calvin in a little bit of a deficit again. 8 minutes to go before halftime. It's Mackenzie Shelton with the ball. Swinging all the way over to Lertzma. Back to Spade, and they are throwing wild skip passes right now. Spade all the way looking for Van Vliet. Off the hands. And Shelton travels. I didn't know we were going to have to keep official record of how many travels we've seen tonight. The look on Coach John Ross's face probably says it all.
That is now 10 turnovers, and for a team that's only shooting about 20% from the field goal, those are not possessions that you want to be giving up.
Definitely not, especially against a team as dominant as Hope, winning by 30-plus points a game. Perkins all the way inside, off the mark, tipped out of bounds. That was off the hands of Shelton. And, I mean, what have we, 10 travels tonight?
Something like that. It's a very high number.
Gaddy looking for Perkins there. McAfee has to come up with it out at the anchor. Anderson on the wing. Schwartz gets an open look for three. That one's off the mark. Great rebound there by Anna Timmer.
Hope isn't shooting much better, about 33%, but the rebounds really make a huge difference, and Hope is definitely leading in that aspect.
Shelton kicked it to Timmer. She's taking it to the rack and going to get 2 free ones. That foul's going to be against the senior, Maura McAfee. We've seen 7 3-pointers attempted tonight between the two teams, 5 from Calvin, 2 from Hope, and none of them go in.
Yeah, and especially for Hope, who normally has a decent amount of threes, I would say, in their games. It's a rare sighting for them. And I'm sure for Calvin, too, being a good shooting team. I know I've heard Coach Ross focuses a lot on shooting, which is a great, great thing. So I'm sure it's a foreign thing for Calvin as well.
Both of these teams shoot 34% from three-point land on the season and are currently shooting 0 between the two of them. Anderson on the wing. Over to Traversa, to Perkins, back to Anderson. Looking inside for Buchanan, who had a nice first quarter. And she's going to get 2 from the charity stripe as well. That foul is on number 24, Lauren Goldthorpe. Buchanan to the line. Spirit fingers from the crowd worked on that one.
Buchanan continually doing well on both the offensive and defensive sides of her game.
Having a very nice first half in a very big game. Knocks down that one as well. She's looking at 8 points already. Calvin has 10 total. Madison and Gears back into the game for the Dutch. Shelton up the floor now. Over to Van Vliet. Spins into the lane. Kicks out. Goldthorpe from the elbow. Madison with the rebound. Looking to push. Splits 2 or 3 Calvin players. And a skip pass all the way to the other side. Barely makes it out of Madison. Looking inside for Buchanan, but it ended up in the hands of Gears. And then Madison over to Anderson now. Buchanan out top with it. Back to Anderson. Lots of passing this possession. Anderson looking inside for Buchanan. Has the look they want. Turnaround, no good. Rebound by Gears, and she's fouled.
And I think that's a great start of possession by Paris Madison. Being one of the smaller ones on the floor and just being so speedy and just being able to get past all our defenders and cutting through on offense and just getting their offense going.
Doing a great job so far in that possession. Mackenzie Shelton pleading with the referee that she got all ball, but is called for the foul there. Second one is no good. Hope leading 22-20, 6 minutes to go till halftime. 22-10. Calvin looking for any sort of offense. Another missed three-pointer, 0 for 6 now. And this is something they're not used to. Madison leading the run out. He's going to reset the offense out top. Traversa pulling a 3. That one's off the mark. And Buchanan's going to get called for another over the back. That's her second foul and her second over the back call. And McAfee races off the bench to replace her.
It's hard for Coach Mo to be mad about the aggressiveness that Buchanan has showed and just the efforts to get the boards.
And I think Buchanan is doing a great job because not only does she have 8 points and several rebounds, but if she gets into foul trouble, All-American Maura McAfee comes into the game.
You can't really lose.
I think that's what you say is a good problem to have, as another 3 is fired up and off the mark, this time by Verkuyk. Madison all the way up to Gears. Another travel. It's unbelievable. I haven't seen this many travels called in an NBA season.
Yeah, both teams definitely, I don't know what's going on in their minds, but hopefully they can fix it because 10 and 9 turnovers is not a stat that either coach wants to see for themselves.
Oh, whatever it is their feet are also moving in their minds as that 3 is fired up and off the mark. Verkuyk again, 0 for 4 from downtown personally and 0 for 8 for the girls in maroon. And a foul on the rebound on number 32, freshman Rachel Warners from the great city of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, we're a little biased to Grand Rapids over here.
Allison Hedrick found McAfee, who got fouled, and the and one rimmed out, so she's going to get 2. Another foul on Rachel Warners, 2 quick ones on her. She's seen about 45 seconds of playtime tonight and has 2 fouls.
As personally knowing Miss Rachel Warners, I know that she's a great player playing with her in high school. Got a lot of talent, but I'm sure first Hope Calvin basketball game has to be a little nerve-wracking.
I would have to imagine, but then again, we've seen so many travels. It looks like everybody's nerves are a little racked out there.
Very true.
McAfee splits the pair, 23-10, under 5 to go before half. Springer backing her way in and puts it up with the left hand. That was a beautiful move.
Yeah, very good, finishing with contact.
Well, in this day and age, you got to be able to finish with contact if you're a basketball player. Madison there received a nice bounce pass from Traversa and gave a nice one to McAfee, who's called for a travel, and she is absolutely incredulous.
Very rare sighting for a travel by McAfee.
And
interesting.
As a very reserved player and person, she was asking the referee why that was a travel. And now another 3 is off the mark for Calvin, and now a foul for them as well. And now they're in danger at the bonus. I think everybody on the floor is frustrated right now.
You can see it on their faces and just their attitudes and body languages.
They just have no idea what's going on between these travel calls and fouls. And 10 turnovers apiece now, and out of those 20 turnovers, I think 13 of them are travels.
Yeah. Both teams' shooting percentages aren't near what they probably want them to be. It's just been a strange half, only being 24-12 for both teams who are so used to scoring so high and doing so well.
2 prolific scorers. And the top 2 in the conference personally as well. Hedrick got the shooter's roll on the last free throw. That one's off the back of the iron. Gears tips it out, ends up in the hands of Abby Springer for the Knights. Looking inside, beautiful pass there. Unable to finish is Bree Lertzma. Great pass from Springer though.
Yeah, great look.
They got to get more looks like that if they want to stay in this game, but they have doing a very poor job of finishing, as you have pointed out very candidly. Crowd getting into it a little bit here. Madison skip pass. Hedrick in the corner. Shot clock to 6. Traversa's going to fire, and that one is pure from downtown.
The first 3 of the night.
The teams are now combined 1 for 13 from three-point land. Calvin has missed all 9 of theirs, and that is the first one from Hope out of their 4. Madison the other way, looking at McAfee, and going to get a charge. Kind of got hung out to dry there.
Yeah.
Had nowhere to go with that. That's her second foul.
Good defensive position by Calvin, being where they needed to be to take that charge.
And she's going to take a seat as there's 3.5 left before halftime, and Coach Morehouse wants her, obviously, to play in the second half. Verkijk swinging over to Lertzma. Back to Verkijk, who's pulling a 3. And one finally goes down for the Knights. Maybe that'll open the floodgates for both teams from downtown. Madison struggling, Morehouse pleading for a timeout, but we're going to get a jump ball instead. Stays with the Dutch.
Entering the line for the Knights, number 11, Mackenzie Shelton, also number 24, Lauren Goldthorpe. For the Flying Dutch, number 10.
Mackenzie Shelton and Lauren Goldthorpe into the game for the Knights.
Calvin looking to start that press again.
Anderson back into the game for the Dutch. And I think they need to keep up the pressure as they're down 12 right now.
And as turnovers seem to be a plethora and easy to have, I think putting pressure on Hope is a smart decision.
Yeah, it might cause them to travel more. Beautiful one-handed bounce pass from Madison there, negated by the 3-second call. Traversa hung out in the blue painted area too long. And this is kind of danger time for Calvin, because if they get down by more than 12 heading into the half, that is a very, very large hill to climb.
Yeah, that's a big deficit that no team really wants to face going into a second half.
Terrific block there. Tiffany Carger was going up for it. Rejected handily, but it did end up in the possession of the Knights as Allie Spade fired up a three off the mark. And then it ended up out of bounds to Hope. Cross-court pass to Gears. And gets the roll to go. They were breaking the pressure pretty easily.
Yeah, Coach Ross does not seem happy. Doesn't he's been yelling on the sidelines, how are they not setting up? So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps the pressure on and if his team can come through for him.
Another three was put up there. That time I believe it was Bree Lertzma. Also off the mark though. And Hope's going to take a timeout as there was a scrum on the floor, and Coach Morehouse wants to keep as many possessions as he can with the amount of turnovers going out the door.
For Hope winning by 14 points, it doesn't seem like that much, as the game's been really hectic and chaotic and just kind of all over the place tonight.
It doesn't feel like they're winning by 14 points, but at the same time, 14 points in the context of this game is a lot more than the regular 14-point deficit, as we're almost at halftime and Calvin has 15 total points.
Right.
Granted, if you think about it in terms of three-pointers falling, that really is only 4 to 5 possessions.
But I think there's a big stat here showing that rebounds. Hope has 34 rebounds compared to Calvin's 16. And that just supplies so many more second chances for Hope.
Not only second chances, but it keeps second chances from Calvin by keeping them off the window. Hope breaks the pressure pretty easily there. Gears went inside, no good. Rebounded by Schwark. Tipped out. Stays with Hope. 1:47 before halftime.
And I think shown right there by Schwark, Hope's done a really good job on the weak side rebounding and just getting in position for that rebound.
You can't overstate the importance of rebounding, and if you're not a believer in the rebounding statistic, this is a game to prove it. Both teams not shooting the ball very well and turning the ball over a decent amount, but the rebounds being the big difference. As you pointed out, Carly, Hope leading that statistical category by 19 right now. Madison inside to Schwark. Beautiful pass, beautiful cut, beautiful finish. I do believe they call that poetry in motion. This time Spade looking for three. Off the mark. Madison and Anderson collided for that rebound. Madison to Traversa from the wing. 3 more! And Coach Ross has seen enough. This lead has ballooned all the way to 19, 34 to 15. Kind of looking like the rebound statistics, 36 to 16. Cries of "Let's go Hope" erupting from the arena.
A few standing and applauding by the Hope faithful. Everyone on the Hope side at least seeming very excited.
All the people wearing maroon and gold are quite silent at this point in time. 1 minute and 11 seconds before halftime, and their team is down 34-15. They're down by more points than they've scored.
Yeah, rightfully so. I'm sure Calvin's not used to this and this type of deficit in a game going into a half.
Especially after beating Hope 3 times last year, but you're not going to sit here and tell me that's not on the Hope players' minds.
Oh, I'm sure revenge is definitely the first thing on their mind.
Every one of the women in the starting lineup for the Dutch are a junior or senior, so they were definitely on the team last year and know what it's like to lose to Calvin 3 times in one season, and they do not want to have that happen again.
And in talking to Tyra Smith this morning, she was saying that Coach Mo has had this game circled for a very long time.
I bet. I would approximate he's had it circled on the calendar since the last time they played at the Voss Fieldhouse, January 17th of 2015. But then again, this game is always circled on every team's calendar, regardless of sport, when it comes to people with Dutch in their name. This one's turned over. Gears to Gaddy. Gaddy tries to flip it back to Schwark. Tipped out of bounds. Great hustle by Verkijk to get back on D. 51.3 to go before half. Hope looking to add to this lead. Already up 19. Even with McAfee and Buchanan sitting on the bench with 2 fouls apiece.
Yeah, one of the great things about Hope is now they have Schwarkin, so they can just keep subbing in the height.
And Madison, wonderful dish to Hedrick, who mishandled it for a second but was able to finish. Lauren Goldthorpe now looking, and Paris Madison gonna get called for a wrong place, wrong time foul right there. Goldthorpe spun back into her, and there was too much contact to let that go.
Madison's had a great night tonight on her passes and just really finding her teammates and making those good, crisp passes.
Bonus time now for the Knights. Speaking of those passes, Paris Madison, 5 assists. No points, but 5 assists and 6 rebounds. That's a pretty good first half.
Yeah, especially for your point guard to have that kind of game in your first half really gets things going and sets the tone.
Yeah, at 5'2" to have 6 rebounds, that's pretty impressive. Both free throws, no good. And Hope's gonna get one more opportunity before half with the shot clock turned off here. 20 seconds to go, leading by 21. And Gaddy's called for a travel. It doesn't even look like any of the players can gather when they get the ball.
No.
If 1 foot is not stopped when they catch the ball, they've been called for a travel.
It's incredible how many travel calls there's been tonight. And just, yeah.
I just can't even say, I've literally never seen this before. All the way to the rack from Springer. Left hand was off the mark. Madison gonna look to fire with 2 seconds left. Dishes to Gaddy, fade away. Off the mark at the horn. But despite that miss from Angelique Gaddy, who has had a fine first half in her own right, the Hope College Dutch are leading the Calvin Knights 36-15. We're gonna take a 15-minute break here, and we will see you back for the second half.
Ladies and gentlemen, prior to each game, the event staff chooses 3 numbers, and when that number comes up on the clicker, the next person who walks through the door is a winner. Tonight's Clicker Cup winners: Ray Terpstra, Rachel McFall, and William Johnson. Each of today's winners receives a free popcorn, soda, and candy, compliments of corrugated dining. Ladies and gentlemen, Hope College Dining Services has teamed up with the Hope College Athletics Department to create awareness and generate excitement about Hope College women's basketball. Last night at Phelps Dining Hall, 1,492 students and 200 participants were in the Hoops Happening games and trivia. 25 lucky winners and 3 of their friends were invited to the VIP room and will have the possibility of winning 5 grand prize packages. Are we ready? All right, our first prize. Our first prize is a Fitbit charge with a $50 gift certificate to Gazelle Sports, plus 3 Fitbit zips for friends. The winner, Benjamin Pedersen. Come on down with your friends and pick up your prize. 2 is $200 in Dutch dollars redeemable at any food service menu, plus $50 for their friends. The winner, Patrick Patton. Patrick, please bring your friends down to the table to collect your prize.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the start of the second half between the Hope College Flying Dutch and the Calvin Knights. As always, this live broadcast of Hope Athletics is sponsored in part by Lawrence and Vanderswart Financial Planning, serving West Michigan since 1960. We're about to kick off this second half here. Hope leading 36-15, and that number 15 is the number of points Calvin scored in the first half, is the least amount of points Hope has given up this season.
Yeah, which is very impressive against a big rivalry game, and just how much Calvin has normally scored in their games and just how well they've done on the offensive end of things.
Not to mention the number 15 team in the country, and they gave up 15 points in the first half. They gave up 16 one time in Orlando and broke that tonight as Maura McAfee puts that one in to put the Dutch up by 23.
I think it's a true testament to Hope's defense, and especially their help defense. Hope does a really good job of rotating and recovering on their defensive end of things.
And that's an air ball from Allie Spade, and safe to say she has had a tough night. 0 for 7 now from the floor, 0 for 6 from three-point land, 1 for 2 from the free throw line.
And it's hard to have an off game like this against such a big rival.
But a lot of people have been frustrated, as well mentioned, due to the travel calls, among other things, on the floor. Another missed three-pointer from Calvin, 1 for 15.
Yeah, and shooting about 17% from field goal range. Their shooting game has just not gone their way today, which is can be very frustrating.
Angelique Getty in the lane puts that one off the window. 40-15 now, and it's only getting worse for the Knights. Timeout from Coach Ross. This is not the start he wanted to see coming out of the half. 2 quick buckets from Hope and 2 missed three-pointers from Calvin.
Coach Ross is a very successful and really, really good coach, and I'm sure he just wants the best for his team and giving them the tools that maybe were missed in the halftime discussion to bring them out here now.
But you're seeing the number 4 team in the country and undefeated Hope College Flying Dutch doing what they do best. They top the MIAA in scoring margin, turnover margin, rebounding margin, assist to turnover ratio, scoring defense, block shots per game, free throws made, and free throws attempted. And they're second in the league to the Knights and Calvin in scoring offense and assists per game, and they might overtake both of those statistical categories at the end of this night.
Yeah, none of that sounded too shabby to me.
That was a near turnover right there. Calvin gonna hang on. All the way inside is Shelton. Finds Van Vliet, who kicks it outside. And that three goes down for Tiffany Carger. Only the second one of the night. Bringing their total to 18 now. 2 minutes into the third quarter. Gaddy inside for McAfee. Back to Gaddy, who takes it all the way inside, knifing through the defense. Easy left-handed lay-in, and it looks easy.
Yeah, Gaddy took advantage of Calvin in the rotation in the defense and took advantage of, as they're rotating, finding the middle and making it to the basket.
Lauren Goldthorpe takes that one inside, and now we're seeing a bit of a flurry of points between the two sides. Calvin's been keeping up that full court pressure pretty much the entire game. Perkins out top with it now. Traversa thought about a three. Anderson to Perkins. Back to Traversa. She lights off this time with the shot clock running down. And that's off the mark. We have seen 4 three-pointers go in tonight from both sides, 2 apiece, and 22 go up. That one I thought might have been partially blocked by McAfee, but great finish by number 22, Becca Richards, with the left hand there. And number 22 brings their total to 22 points. And that's a turnover by Gaddy, clearly frustrated there.
Calvin's looking to really keep those turnovers up with that full court press and putting a little bit more pressure on Gaddy and the point guards as they bring it up the floor.
They do have forced 15 turnovers from Hope while only committing 11 themselves. So they are winning that category, but has been well documented tonight, losing the rebounding category by a wide margin. Right now it's 41-17, which seems pretty comparable to the 42-22 score in the big lights. And Anderson makes it 44 now. Great outlet pass there.
Yeah, and that's just second nature to Hope, running the floor and looking, the girl with the ball looking up the court to pass it to her. It's just a great thing that Hope does.
McAfee kicking that one away. Calvin going to remain with the ball and searching for answers. But what else can you do down 44-22? This is a turnover. Perkins now. Hounded in the backcourt by Verkijk. Playing great defense all the way down the floor. Gaddy again to the basket. This time it's off the mark. McAfee with the rebound. Hammered on the way up. Two more for her from the charity stripe. Emily Van Vliet, the guilty party there.
And Calvin's done a really good job this game of keeping the pressure on as far as defensive go. Just their offensive game has just not been falling for them and not coming through. And that's just really been the issue. The energy and the effort's there. It's just not following through with the points.
And sometimes you have an off night, but you really don't want to have an off night on the home floor of your biggest rival and the number 4 team in the country, who is also undefeated. McAfee bangs home both of those. Brings her point total to 9 on the night. There's another 3 opportunity from Calvin off the mark. Carger again has one of the 2 makes. The 3-point shot is the great equalizer in the game of basketball, and a phrase some teams prescribe to is living and dying by the 3-pointer, and Calvin is dying by the 3 tonight. Gears to Schwark to Madison. Back to Gears. Back to Schwark. Looking inside for McAfee. Tipped away. Schwark can end up with it. Tipped away again. Great effort by Carger. She's got it now. Calvin going to set up their offense with Abby Springer. Backing down Madison. Kicks out. Timmer thought about a 3 a couple times. Spins to the right hand. Kicks to Becca Richards. And that one's good. Good looking shot there. I think Hope is content to stay in the 20-point lead range as that ball is kicked about 15 rows into the stands. Great hands there. Maybe they should sign her up.
Trying to get everybody involved here tonight. And making sure everyone's paying attention.
That's right. People can maybe tune out a little bit when a game gets a bit out of hand, but you can't ever count any team out until the scoreboard hits double zeros, or in this case, triple zeros.
In a team as good as Calvin has been and is, you can never count them out.
Paris Madison from the corner. Tray ball is good. Extending the lead to 24 now. And another turnover from the Knights. Francesca Buchanan in for McAfee. 4:23 left in the third quarter. Hope is almost doubling Calvin right now, 49-25. But that one's thrown away. Richards comes up with it. In the corner for 3. Off the mark is Abby Springer. Gears leading the charge. Takes it coast to coast and lays it in. Springer looking to take it in. Pump fake there from Timmer. And an air ball off Richards. Hope ball.
Calvin's really scrambling on offense, trying to get any open look that they can get, hoping that it's going to fall in.
They have, I think it's safe to say, jacked up 19 3-pointers tonight. 3 of them have gone down. Hope also has 3, but they have only taken 7. Schwark gets it across the timeline just in time and is fouled by Verkijk. Her second, team second in the third. Madison guarded by Spade, who has had a very frustrating night to say the least. Schwartz to Madison, looking inside for Buchanan. Behind the back there, nice move. Hedrick's got it now. Shot clock down to 6, Madison. That ball is going to be kicked by Hedrick and given back to the Knights.
I think another testament to Hope is how well their bigs can dribble the ball and hold their own when they're past the arc. And I think it's a good thing that Coach Mo teaches and really improves his players in all aspects of their game.
It is a great advantage to have big and tall players who can handle the basketball as well as they can. And there is Allie Spade's first basket of the night, bringing her total to 3. Great pass from Hedrick there, and Buchanan lays it in for a game-high 10th point. That ball is going to be out of bounds. Another turnover from Calvin. Just not much going right for the ladies in maroon tonight.
No, not at all, and it's very frustrating. No shooting, the turnovers, but a true testament to them for keeping going, keeping the pressure on. They have not lost their energy.
Well, this is not a type of game you want to really give up in, especially a rival as big as this. Timeout going to be taken by Hope. And Hope is spreading the love around tonight. We mentioned Buchanan with her 10 points leading the way, but McAfee right behind her with 9, Traversa with 8, Angelique Gaddy with 8. It's all over the board. Calvin with Anna Timmer and Becca Richards leading the way with 5 points apiece. Hope's largest lead of the night right now, 26 points, 53-27. And unless the score flips dramatically, Calvin will not have led for a second of this basketball game.
Yeah, Hope's done a really good job looking for each other, and really finishing has been a big thing, and getting those rebounds for those second chance finishes. And getting close to the basket and getting good angles.
That's been a key strategy that Coach Morehouse has used, especially at home this season where they're 7-0. 158-5 all time at home since DeFoss Field House was erected in 2005-2006. And Mandy Traversa puts that one in to tie her teammate Buchanan at 10 points apiece. Shelton now, no good. Madison coming back the other way. Kicks it to Gears, short corner, pure. And this is clinical now. Kenzie Shelton finishes that. 57-29. A minute and a half left in this third quarter. Gears inside to Buchanan, one dribble, and a foul. Shelton charged with a hold. Abby Springer and Tiffany Carger back into the game for the Knights. Madison out top now. Gears on the wing. Buchanan. Gears. Traversa inside for Buchanan. Flips it to her teammate Hedrick. Off the mark, Buchanan with the rebound. Nice left hand finish there.
And what a game for freshman Buchanan. Really finishing her shots, looking for her teammates, and doing a heck of a job on defense as well.
Allie Spade off the mark again, continuing her night of that she would most likely forget or would like to forget. Abby Springer with the steal, swoop, scoop, and score there. Hedrick all the way in, tipped out, ends up in the hands of Anna Timmer, and she's fouled by Traversa, as it looked like Timmer had a pretty free lane to the basket.
2 back-to-back turnovers for Hope. Hopefully the Knights thinking that could maybe possibly start a spark for them.
I think at this point, down 28 points, they are playing for pride in the fourth quarter. Like I said earlier, never you want to count a team out of any situation, but 3 for 20 from three-point land. And you are getting out-rebounded by 30 rebounds. Those are not stats that are going to win you ball games.
Yeah, hard stats to argue with.
And there's another turnover, increasing their turnovers to 16. While Hope has 20. And Coach Ross just very frustrated. You got to feel for him in this situation. I mean, what can you do?
Great coach with a great team, just an off night.
That is very true. It's been easily stated and shown time and time again how hard it is to win in this building. Calvin pulled it off last year. The last time that anybody won in this building was that game just over 1 year ago. Since then, Hope is on an 11-game home winning streak. Gaddy now over to Perkins. Time running down on the shot clock. Anderson fires. And a whistle and a foul with 0.7 seconds left. Abby Springer going to throw this one as far as she can. And Lauren Goldthorpe received the pass, but only had 0.7 seconds to do anything with it. A very tough night for the Calvin Knights. 59-31 going into the fourth quarter against arch rival Hope College. You'll see some highlights from the third quarter here. There's that drive by Gaddy that looked way too easy. A nice finish on the other end by Goldthorpe. Anderson getting in on the action. Just a very, very tough night for everybody who is related to Calvin College women's basketball.
It is, and Hope has really utilized all their assets, getting it in the middle to Buchanan and McAfee, and then kicking it out to people like Traversa who can hit the three. Paris Madison and Gaddy have done a great job driving the ball and getting in, and Perkins has also done a great job.
This is a team that was in the national quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament last season, and 12-3 to start off this season. Their 3 losses, one coming in overtime, one coming at Wisconsin Lutheran, and one coming to #1 and reigning national champion Thomas More, 85-69. So no slouches there. And like we mentioned, currently undefeated in conference play. These two teams will most likely be vying for the title against each other.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against Calvin. They have the skill, they have the talent, they've done a great job in their previous games. It just hasn't worked out for them tonight.
Autumn Anderson driving, kicks to Perkins with a pump fake to the basket, and that's good. Back the other way now. A drive inside by Goldthorpe is off the mark, rebounded by Van Vliet. She's gonna go to the free throw line. Elizabeth Perkins called for that foul. The next home game for the Flying Dutch is Wednesday, January 27th against the Olivet Comets. That tip-off is 6 p.m. And after that, the Hope Calvin men's basketball game will follow that. The tickets for the MIAA doubleheader are sold out.
Yeah, it's another big game and a very exciting one. I expect a packed house for that one.
Most definitely. The crowd was pretty large tonight for the Hope Calvin women's game, as is to be expected with two powerhouse clubs like they are. But we can only imagine that it will be falling apart at the seams with the amount of people in here for the men's game.
It's going to be an atmosphere that if you're not here, you're really missing out.
And you're going to be extremely missing out because you're going to be stuck listening to us on the call. And that's a foul against Hope after a missed layup. McAfee getting charged with that one. Third one for her. The Flying Dutch's next actual game will be this Saturday, 1 p.m. in an MIAA contest against the Trine Thunder in Angola, Indiana. Hope defeated Trine 64-50 at DeVos Fieldhouse on December 2nd. Elizabeth Perkins carrying the team with 22 points that night.
I do remember that game. Perkins was a real fire as she is in this game. Really brings a lot of energy to the court.
Great effort by Jacqueline Schwark there to get that jump ball. Hope with a 61-32 lead. 8:44 left. And it seems like this last 8:44 is nothing but a real formality. But regardless, it needs to be played, and there's a foul.
Calvin foul number 22, Linda Richards. That is her first. Team's first.
Hope looking to go to 16-0. For the second time in 3 years. As Liz Perkins, as we just mentioned, her fire, lays that one in. She's up to 8 points now. Several players working on a double-digit night. Three-pointer put up there by 24. Lauren Goldthorpe is off the mark. Rebounded nicely. Timmer with the left hand. Springer with the left hand. No good, but gets the foul.
Yeah, it was a good move. Didn't finish, but really drew the foul and got her to the line. Hopefully Calvin can bounce back for their next game this Saturday against Kalamazoo. Another conference game, always good to be able to recover and put another win under the belt to move forward from maybe possibly loss like this.
I would not want to be the Kalamazoo team having to play this Calvin team coming off of a week of practice after a game like this, and the crowd very not happy with the offensive foul call on Anna Madison right there. She herself was rather flabbergasted by the call as well. Nothing she can do but smile.
Yeah, Autumn's a very passionate player. Gotta love it.
Rebound there by Calvin. And Tiffany Carger missing that one. Jiki trying to go coast to coast and does so. 65-33 now. 7.5 left. This one's being put up. And Tiffany Carger puts it down. 3-ball right there. Only the fourth one out of 23 we've seen tonight.
And those are the kind of shots Calvin could have used a little bit earlier in the game.
I would think so. But they'll take as many as they can get right now as well. Perkins, bounce pass. Buchanan fouled. Looked like Van Vliet there. And while this game may be slightly out of hand right now, I would caution the Hope College Flying Dutch women's basketball team not to overlook the February 20th matchup at Calvin later on this season.
Calvin's a great arena to play in. They always have a huge crowd and a really good following and a lot of support from the Knight alumni and family members and students. So it will definitely be a really, really good game.
Yeah, beautiful, glistening arena, quite large. They still don't lead the MIAA in attendance, though.
A very proud stat of Hope College.
But that is not a game that you're going to want to overlook on the schedule. Calvin is not going to forget about tonight. But they're still playing out there now as Verkuyk steals one away. Looking for Van Vliet. She goes up with it. And missed the turnaround. Traversa with the rebound, and Van Vliet with the foul. That's her fourth.
That is her fourth. Entering the lineup for Calvin, number 35. Number 32,
Rachel Warner's back into the game for the Knights. Paris Madison breaking the pressure by herself.
She makes it look so easy dribbling through the defense.
Wish I could sign up to dribble like her.
Paris Madison dribbling video in her future?
I would think so. I think I'd buy that.
I definitely would.
Kick out to Madison Gears. 3 ball. 3 points. The shots keep falling for Hope.
And another steal. Yeah, Hope's shooting percentage has really gone up, now shooting around 49% to Calvin's 25%, a huge stat. And that has really increased for Hope in the second half.
And those numbers are going to regress to the mean a little bit as Buchanan shot hit nothing but the backboard. And Callie Verkuyk came all the way down the floor and laid it in for the Knights. A little more of a scoring output from the Knights in this second half. Up to 38 now, only 15 in the first half, so they've already got 23 here in the second half. A little more what they're used to seeing. But it's tough when the other team has 68.
Yeah, and a true testament, as we've been talking about this entire game, just the fantastic job of rebounding that Hope has done, now up to 52 rebounds.
Just suffocating. And what else is suffocating is the way Manu Traversa is shooting the ball. That is her third three-pointer of the night. She now has 13 points. And there's Allie Spade. Turning around and putting that one in. 5 points for her. Hope now, 3 players in double figures. Traversa, Gaddy, and Buchanan, with Gears, McAfee sitting on 9 and Perkins on 8. So they're looking at possibly 6 players in double figures if the right people put some baskets in here.
Yeah, Hope does a really good job of getting everybody involved and just really passing the love around.
Great defense there by the freshman Warners on the senior McAfee. And that shot rims out for Hope. Calvin back the other way. Jump ball called as Verkuyk and Traversa got tangled up. Traversa gets a nice hand as she comes out. 33, Heather Randall into the game for Hope. Warners to Lertzma, back to Warners. To Verkuyk now. Spins and throws up a very interesting layup. Had a chance to go. McAfee comes down with it. McAfee's got it now. Gears going to set up the offense. Hands it over to Madison at point. Guarded very tightly by Verkuyk and breaks her ankles right there. Talk about those handles from Paris Madison. And they were on display right there. If we can't get a replay for you, I'm going to apologize profusely because that was an incredible display. Crossing her over 1 or 2, 3 times and adding insult to injury there. Kelly Verkuyk coming out of the game. Her team already down 30 and Paris Madison putting her on the ground.
That's textbook dribbling skills.
Here's the replay for you. I hope it works. Crossover. Oh. It would have punctuated the effect had the shot gone in, but in any case, beautiful crossover. Great effort on the floor from pretty much everyone wearing a uniform. I mean, the hustle by everyone there. 5 people were on the ground. You can't even give individual credit to anybody because so many people were hustling. I think that's a credit to the coaches on both sides here. Coach Ross, Coach Morehouse, telling these teams never to quit, never to give up. Always go for the loose ball.
It's been shown throughout the night. Almost every possession, especially in the first half, somebody was on the floor trying to find the ball, trying to recover it. So really good job, effort by both teams.
And Buchanan adding to her total up to 14 now. Fighting Traversa for the game high. Traversa at 13. Timeout by Calvin now for substitutions. 73-40, both teams with 3 minutes and 19 seconds left, putting in most of their bench players. For Hope, Paris Madison, Mary Gibson, Francesca Buchanan, Allie Gorsica, and Heather Randall in the game. Calvin, right there, is number 40, Jenna Sibisma, with the and one. Sibisma, excuse me, looking for the old-fashioned three-point play here. That one's no good off the back, but Calvin's going to keep it. Also on the floor besides Sibisma is Natalie Kmet, Rachel Warners, Anita Vandermeulen, and Natalie Voss. 3 minutes of play time, and as Paris Madison takes this, blocked out of bounds.
We were talking earlier about how both coaches do a great job with their team and their players and just really improving them. I was talking to Rachel Warners from Calvin a couple weeks ago, and she was so excited because her dribbling skills have improved thanks to Coach Ross and just how great he is with all the players.
And it's always nice to see the hard work of the players paying off and some of the backup players getting a chance to play in a rivalry as big as Hope Calvin. Rachel Warner's beautiful turnaround jumper there. 2 more, getting her first action in a Hope Calvin rivalry. And there's a block by Sibisma, showing out tonight. Paris Madison with the steal, laying it in with the left hand. 77-44.
Great night by Paris Madison. 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Exactly what you want from a point guard.
Not to mention 5 points. That's over halfway to a triple-double. She's playing well in many facets of the game. Not to mention the steals. Part of the reason Hope Calvin has 22 turnovers. She lets off a big smile right there. And I think she can with under 2 minutes to go and her team up by 33 points. Mary Gibson kicks it out to Madison. Gorsica now. Skip pass back to Gibson. Inside for Buchanan. Off the hands of Paris Madison. And Hedrick back into the game to take Madison out, and she gets a well-deserved ovation from the crowd, recognizing her contribution to tonight's efforts. This one's stolen away. Buchanan now taking it the distance. Francesca Buchanan, 16 points.
Yeah, another player that's had just a phenomenal night on both the offense and defensive sides of her game.
And there's a drive there. Natalie Kmet, fouled by Heather Randall. 72 seconds remain. 79-44. Heather Randall looking to make it 45 and does so. Excuse me, Natalie Kmet. Heather Randall was the one who fouled him. She makes 1 out of 2. Buchanan adds a rebound to her total. 16.7 rebounds for Francesca Buchanan. Can't say enough about the way she's played. Mary Gibson for 3. Rims out. Warner's with the board. Vandermeulen taking it up. Vandermeulen inside. Seibesma with the turnaround. No good. Great hustle, though. Vandermeulen gets the rebound. Clement looking. Warner's has it. Driving hard. Kick to the corner. And that shot's off the mark by Natalie Voss. But rebounded well, and Seibesma puts it in.
Yeah, that was a good possession by Calvin, really moving the ball around, looking for each other, and getting the rebound to get that second chance.
And Hope is just going to dribble this clock out as the shot clock is off. The final score is going to be 79-47. Your Hope College Flying Dutch taking it to the Calvin Knights here at DeVos Fieldhouse tonight. Big story of the night. Calvin shooting 4 for 24 from long range. Hope 5 for 12. Turnovers pretty even, and the other big story of the night, as Carly has alluded to time and time again, is rebounding. Hope ends up with 55. Calvin ends up with 30. The rematch will be in February, I believe February 20th. As we mentioned, you can check out Your Flying Dutch playing at Trine, and this Saturday at home. Here's some highlights from the overall game. Great game by Francesca Buchanan. Great game by really everybody wearing a white uniform. You see the effort on the floor.
Everybody really got involved tonight.
But you got to give it to the Lady Knights of Calvin College for not giving up. They got down by 30 points, and Hope led wire to wire, but they did not quit. A lot of effort. 79-47 is your final. We hope to see you again soon. For Carly Van Swell, I'm Eric Van Swell, and we're signing off. Please enjoy the highlights. Paris Madison breaking ankles, and have a good night.